Good afternoon, all. This is Rick Haggottstaff. You may begin.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, everybody. This June 15th meeting of the Boulder County Planning Commission will now come to order. This is Planning Commission Chair Sam Libby. Due to COVID-19 concerns, this meeting is being held virtually. Information on how to participate in the virtual meeting has been posted to the Planning Commission webpage at www.boco.org/PC. There will be an opportunity to remotely provide public comment on the dockets listed in the agenda during the respective virtual public hearing portions for each docket item. And I'll provide instructions about that when we get to each docket on the agenda. We'll start with a roll call of the commissioners. Sam Fitch.
Here.
Thank you. Sam Libby here. Dave Sue.
Here.
Ann Goldfarb.
Here.
Chris Whitney.
Here.
Gavin McMillan.
Here.
Mark Bloomfield.
Here.
Okay, thank you. A reminder to the commissioners, please identify yourself before speaking and speak slowly and clearly. All of our votes are going to be verbal roll call votes like I just did. Please keep your video on when possible during the hearing, though you're welcome to turn it off for a moment if you need to. Please remain on mute until you're ready to speak. When you begin speaking, identify yourself like this is Planning Commissioner Sam Libby. It may help to keep the participant list open to see who's speaking or who's in the order to speak. All right, our first order agenda item today is minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes or a motion to approve them?
Commissioner Bloomfield.
Commissioner Goldfarb, I move to approve.
Okay, I'll take that as a first and second. Any discussion? All right, and we'll vote. I'll go in the same order again. Sam Fitch.
Aye.
Sam Libby, aye. Dave.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Gavin.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes stand approved as written. Before we move on to staff updates, we're going to nomination officers. My year as chair has ended. So I'm nominating a new chair and vice chair for the coming year. I'll continue through today's meeting as I have the script pulled up and ready to go. But I'll start, we'll take a nomination in a second for both chair and vice chair. Any nominations at this time?
As Commissioner Bloomfield, I'll nominate Commissioner McMillan for vice chair.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that. And this is Commissioner Libby. I'm going to nominate Mark, who's currently the vice chair, to be the chair for the coming year. Any second on that?
Commissioner Chris Whitney,
second.
Great. All right. We'll take a vote first for the chair, which will be Mark. And I'll go through roll call. Sam Fitch.
Aye.
Sam Libby, aye. Dave.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Gavin. And Mark.
I'll abstain.
Okay, passes. So that'll be Mark as the chair. And then I'll take a vote for the vice chair. We had a motion and a second on that. For Gavin to be the vice chair. Sam Fitch.
Aye.
Sam Libby, aye. Dave.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Gavin.
Should I abstain as well?
It's up to you.
I'll abstain.
Okay, and Mark.
Aye.
Okay, that passes as well. So we'll proceed next meeting with the new chair and vice chair. Or I guess it's effective now probably, but I'll continue unless you feel a burning desire to take over, Mark.
Nope.
Okay. Kim, is that all set on the nominations?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Kim Sanchez, yes, you're all set. Thanks and
Okay.
Congratulations.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, are there any staff updates?
I do have one staff update for you, and it's just to give you a heads up that we have, we are working on a land use code change to our accessory dwelling unit provisions. And this first phase of code changes will consider allowing ADUs in the Marshall Fire rebuild area. We'll eventually look at this countywide for all of incorporated Boulder County, but given that many of the Marshall Fire residents are putting together their plans for rebuilding, and we've heard the desire for ADUs from many in that community, we are pursuing code changes for that area first, and the proposed regulations have been released publicly, and you will hold your first hearing on them next month on the 20th of July.
Okay, thanks. That's exciting. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
All right, another staff updates. We'll move on to our agenda items for today. We have one item scheduled for Planning Commission today. I'll take a moment to explain the public hearing process before we start it. There'll be an opportunity to provide public comment remotely for anybody who's logged in or called in on these items that we've specified that we'll take testimony on. There's one item today. We will have public commentary if anybody is here to speak to it. The order of presentation will be to first hear from staff with presentation, then the applicant if they wish to present, then we'll move into public comments. There may have been a sign up in advance. We normally handle that with Anna. I don't know if there was any sign up to report, Rick. You can tell me that when we get to it. And then we'll call them first. If you did sign up, you're still welcome to speak, but you can sign up in the chat by pasting your name and the docket number you'd like to speak to. Please direct your comments to the board itself or to the Planning Commission itself. The chair will direct any questions that arise to the appropriate party. Once we've heard any public testimony, the public hearing will be closed. We'll then discuss and take a vote on an action. Everyone's welcome to have a chance to speak, even if you didn't sign up ahead of time. Once people have signed up in advance have spoken, excuse me, we'll have a chance for additional members to speak. If you're joining the computer to the Zoom meeting, as I said, you can submit your first and last name, address, and docket number in the chat. If anybody is there on the phone, you can raise your hand at the appropriate time by pressing *9. We'll then unmute you, or request that you unmute yourself with *6, and we'll help you through that process. Once you're unmuted, you can state your name, address, etc., and give your comment. During these public comments, each speaker is allotted 3 minutes to speak. There will be a timer that goes off that indicates when you need to stop speaking. We do have an option of pooling time where multiple members of the public can pool time together at 3 minutes per person for a maximum of 10 minutes if you have 4 people pooling time together. You have to provide your names and addresses of the other folks, and they'll have to be here as well in attendance. The people that are donating their time to you, and we'll check on that at the time when that happens. We ask the public does not submit any comments or questions in the chat box. It should only be used for signing up to be a speaker. And then when you are promoted, please remain on mute until we call on you, and then go back on mute after your comments. There's no screen sharing for the public, although the applicant is welcome to share their screen. If the applicant does plan to present, please have your presentation pulled up and ready, and we'll get to you after the staff presentation. Okay, I'm going to now open the public hearing for docket SD-22-0001. We'll hear from staff first with Pete. Would you please present the staff report?
Good afternoon, commissioners. This is Pete Larange, Planner 2 with Boulder County Community Planning and Permitting. Let me share my screen here. All right. Assuming everyone can see that at this point.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
This is docket SD-22-0001, Niwot Hills, TDR/PUD subdivision filing 3. The owner and agents are Michael Markle with Ridgeline Development Corporation and Niwot Hills LLC, and Cameron Knapp with Drexel Barrel and Company. This is a request for a combined preliminary plat and preliminary plan and final plat for the creation of 11 lots within the TDR/PUD of Niwot Hills using transferable development rights. The location is at 6775 Niwot Hills. The property is approximately 27.7 acres and the zoning is agricultural. Here is the vicinity map, the aerial view, the zoning map confirm that it is agricultural. The comprehensive map, you'll notice that there are some areas that are in environmental conservation areas and ag lands of local importance. We will address those later during the criteria review. Elevations map, fairly flat parcel. Geological hazards map, you can see this is moderate swelling soil potential area. Oil and gas map, there is one plugged and abandoned site in the middle of the parcel. Public lands map, you can see this is pretty much surrounded by county conservation easement land. This is the sketch plan that was originally approved as part of SD 99-02. This is the filing 1. So this is the first phase of the development that was done at the same time with the sketch plan. Filing 2, which was done in 2018, creation of 7 lots in the southwest corner of the development. And then this is for filing 3. It includes the creation of 11 lots in the southeast corner and the closing of the road loop with new street or new paving running through the middle of that northeast section of the development. A little bit closer view of the 11 proposed lots and a little bit better map or better picture that shows a little more detail. And then this is the section of road that would be constructed to close the loop. Referral responses, we heard from our access and engineering team, and they found that the proposed improvements are consistent with the original subdivision plan, and that they do meet the Boulder County multimodal transportation standards, and that all road improvements must be constructed within this platted right-of-way. They also noted that the prior to paving, an engineer design must be approved by the county engineer, and prior to final inspection for road improvements, a qualified Colorado licensed professional engineer must certify that the paving improvements were constructed in accordance with the approved design. Finally, access and engineering noted that per the county engineer, the applicant will assume responsibility for construction and maintenance of the section of Niwot Hills Drive through tracks 1 and 2, that's that closing of the loop, until certificates of occupancy are issued for the adjacent lots. That would come presumably through a 4th filing at a later date. The conservation easement team did not have any conflict with the proposal, but they did recommend measures to protect the Fox Hills sandstone natural area adjacent to the development. And they strongly recommended the use of silt fencing during construction to kind of help preserve that area. Public Works Stormwater noted that a stormwater quality permit is required for the overlot grading and any infrastructure. Likewise, they noted that a stormwater quality permit will be necessary for the future development of the created parcels, and that as it is located in a municipal separate storm sewer system and MS4 urbanized area, that it will require permanent stormwater management facilities be developed as part of the project. Our Parks and Open Space Natural Resource Planner noted that there are no significant natural resources impacted per se, although they did note concern for the natural area on adjoining Outlot B, and noted the likely presence of rare lichen species, paleontological resources in those Fox Hills sandstone outcropping. They also noted that there are a number of recreational trails developed through it, and those could have the potential for impacting the sandstone area. They also noted that some of the newly platted lots are within that environmental conservation area I mentioned, However, those lots were initially designed a number of years ago, and that aspect was considered at that time and found to be no conflict. Similarly, the loss of a small area of agricultural land of local and statewide importance was also considered. Parks and Open Space recommended a condition of approval that would include requiring the installation of a fence along the western facing side of the natural area. And both a construction fence and a silt fence should be erected along the eastern edge of the new lots before any earthwork begins. Parks and Open Space provided this image indicating the two fences that they were proposing, that they recommended, the green one being the silt fence along the new lots, and then the red being a split rail fence kind of cordoning off the sandstone area to help protect it. Our building division provided standard comments for this, so nothing remarkable there. Excel Energy noted that the owner and developer would have to complete the application process for any new natural gas or electric service, and that is their responsibility. Colorado Geological Survey noted that it is underlain by loose Elion wind deposited sands and silts, and that lot-specific geotechnical investigations will be needed once specific building locations and plans are known. Left Hand Water noted that before any work is performed on existing infrastructure or any proposed new infrastructure, the applicant will be required to submit a subdivision service review form with the Water District. Colorado Division of Water Resources requested additional information from the applicants before they will respond. The applicants have been notified and are working with Division of Water Resources to address that. A number of agencies responded with no comment or no concern. As far as adjacent property owners, the only contact we got was one phone call that happened literally about 3 minutes after the staff report got posted online, which is why it was not included in that. That applicant said that they were not opposed, but did have some concerns related to excessive grading for future properties and wanted to ensure that any grading projects like that would go through appropriate review. So for the subdivision criteria, Article 5-202 of the Boulder County Land Use Code, preliminary plan standards and conditions. These are the review criteria for that. Number one, that the proposal complies with the sketch plan as approved. The staff found that it does. Number two, the proposed water supply meets requirements of section 7-300 of this code. Again, the water supply lines were constructed as part of the first filing, and Left Hand Water District reviewed those as part of that first filing and did not raise any concerns with this filing. Number three, if public sewage disposal system is proposed, provision has been made for such systems. Again, sewage systems were constructed as part of the first filing. Niwot Sanitation District reviewed this and did not raise any concerns with this filing. Number four, the proposed roads meet the requirements of section 7-600 of this code and the transportation standards. As noted, the Access and Engineering team found that the proposed roads are consistent with the previously approved plans and do meet the Boulder County multimodal transportation standards. And again, per the county engineer, the applicant will be solely responsible for construction and maintenance of that portion of Niwot Hills Drive between tracks 1 and 2 until certificates of occupancy have been issued for the remaining lots shown in the sketch plan. Number five, the proposed drainage meets the requirements of section 7-900. Stormwater management best practices were required to be put in place with the construction and development approved through phase 1. And as noted before, a Boulder County stormwater quality permit will be required, and construction of permanent stormwater management facilities will also be required. Number 6, the preliminary engineering plans provide evidence to show the proposed methods of fire protection comply with section 7-1100 of this code. Existing fire hydrants were installed throughout as part of the first filing, and Mountain View Fire Protection District did not respond with comments related to this application. Number 7, the proposal meets all other applicable sections of Article 7, and power, water, sewer, and fire protection infrastructure were reviewed, approved, and installed as part of filing 1. Article 5-302, these are the standards and conditions for the final plat approval. And the code notes that neither the Planning Commission nor the Board of County Commissioners shall approve a final plat proposal until the applicant has met the following standards and conditions. So this is for the final plat, that second piece. Number 1, complies with all of the conditions of sketch and preliminary plans. Since this is a combined preliminary plan and final plat, all necessary conditions will be applied at the same time. Number 2 includes adequate final engineering plans for water distribution systems. Water distribution system infrastructure has been constructed as approved through the first filing. Number 3 meets all planning, engineering, and survey requirements of the county. Again, the final plat map shall be required to meet the standards as set forth in Article 3-203.5 of the Land Use Code. Number 4 does not include a lien, conveyance, or encumbrance on the property, dividing a subdivided lot or outlot. Staff did note that outlots A and B are encumbered by county conservation easement as recorded as part of filing 1, but neither of those outlots are impacted by this filing. The easements were created as part of the first filing specifically to protect those lands. And number 5 provides certification from the Boulder County Treasurer's Office that all ad valorem taxes applicable to the land have been paid, and the applicant shall provide evidence of that subsequently. And B, the applicant must also submit a development report. Based on these criteria, staff would recommend a conditional approval for docket SD-22-0001 Niwot Hills TDR/PUD subdivision filing 3, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff recommendation. And I have those, and I'm happy to go over them in detail if the Planning Commission wishes.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Are there any specific questions from commissioners for staff at this time before we hear from the applicant?
This is Commissioner Shu. I have a question about the authority to look at the preliminary plan and the final plat at the same time under Article 5-301C. It specifically mentions that we can only do this for 7 lots or less, and there's 11 lots here, so I'm not following why this is allowed under that article.
Staff conferred with the director for Boulder County Community Planning and Permitting, Dale Case, specifically asking about this, and it was determined that because all of the infrastructure was already in place, created as part of filing 1, and that because the plans for filing 3 match all of those original sketch plan designs as approved, that he would authorize it to go forward with 11 lots instead of the 7.
Someone from the attorney's office that can comment on this?
Yes, I believe we conferred with the attorneys prior to that, but I think.
Yeah, hi, this is Erica Rogers, Assistant County Attorney. I can comment on this as well. So looking at the code provision, there is a final sentence that says the director shall determine whether a particular application may combine sketch plan, preliminary plan, or final plat processes. So the way that we interpret that position, that sentence was that that was an additional. So even if it didn't meet the numbered lots, that the director could still make that determination based on the factors that Pete has highlighted, that we find that to be appropriate here. Let me know if that answers your question, or if that does not explain it well.
So just to understand, there's two sentences in this clause. The second one is the one that you mentioned. And the first one says the final plat may be combined with the 7 lots and the not require extensive engineering. Then the second sentence is being interpreted that the director has sole discretion in, without any criteria whatsoever, that the director can decide to combine those two plans together.
Well, there was still a consideration of the criteria to determine whether it would be appropriate. So it wasn't just he could make that decision just based on no reasoning, but because of the factors that Pete highlighted, we felt that that could be appropriate here, even though the number of lots weren't meeting the numbers in the first sentence. So basically, they could be combined if you meet those numbers. If not, the director can still make that determination based on the specific application.
Okay, I guess, so the first sentence is almost like a recommendation and not, so it says it may be combined. The way I read it is that the first sentence is it may be combined. The second sentence is that the director determines based on the first sentence whether it can be combined, but you're saying that they're two separate sentences that don't really have anything to do with each other?
Maybe a way to explain it is that, well, the first sentence, if you meet those numbers, they can be combined, period. And then if they don't meet those numbers, the director can still make that determination based on the particular application factor. So I understand that there are two different ways to interpret this, and I'm sharing the way that we chose to go with, but this board can make their own decisions on that for sure.
Okay, thank you. And then just a site question. So I see you mentioned there's an abandoned gas site in the middle of the parcel. How is that considered in the evaluation of the criteria, or was it?
Certainly, that's one of the things that we would look at as part of our review. Since it's abandoned and has been capped and closed off, and that it was there prior to the first, to the best of my knowledge, it was there prior to SD 99-02, the original sketch plan approval, that it has been considered and that it would not be a factor.
Okay, thank you.
This is Commissioner Libby. I had two brief questions. Pete, one of the maps on filing 2 showed what looked like a water easement in this area. Was that correct, or was that vacated? I didn't see it on the following maps.
That I do not know. Yeah, I don't think it did not come up as part of this review.
Okay. I guess something to check on. And then the second was on the access and engineering referral. There was a comment of requiring a professional engineer to certify something around paving. I didn't see any condition that referred to that, and it wasn't part of a permit, so I didn't know if that was covered in one of the conditions already.
That is something that would be a submission requirement for the permit, regardless of any approval. So
okay. There's another one around the fences. The map was helpful. The 2 fences make sense. The condition specifies 1 fence. If the intent is to have both be conditioned, I think we should change that.
let's see, the first condition speaks specifically to that western fence.
The other ones were only during construction along the eastern edge of the disturbed area, would that be part of the building permit or something like that?
Yes, that would fall under the erosion control plan as outlined in condition 3.
Okay, cool. I'm good with that. Thanks.
Commissioner Goldfarb, I have a question about the condition number 4 that indicates all permits shall be applied for within 6 weeks and completed within 6 months. Is that something that's unusual in terms of conditions? And if so, why?
That is a standard condition. Well, I won't say it's standard. That is condition that was applied to filing 2, and we just carried it over to be consistent.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bloomfield, I had a further clarification question on that. Because conditions 2 and 3 talk about building permits, I assume that all applicable Boulder County permits for number 4 is in relation to this docket item.
Correct.
So I'm wondering if we can maybe clarify that, and also and maybe say within 6 weeks of approval by the Board of County Commissioners, I assume.
Yes, we can clarify that.
Okay. And then I did have one other question regarding the Colorado Division of Water Resources, and they said that they need more info before responding. I guess I'm wondering what are they approving, given that the water supply system sounds like it's been in place and the left-hand water district has given their okay. Like, what's the Colorado Division of Water Resources commenting on?
Let me see if I can bring up their referral response real quick, so I can give you detailed information on their comments. Hold on one second.
I think most of their comments was, we don't have enough information, but
yeah, we referred it to them just because it's a subdivision and water is an important issue.
Sure.
Come on. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Okay. I think primarily what it looks like they were looking at was water use and estimated water demand, and that they wanted to ensure that nothing was being approved that would result in overuse or over demand of water higher than what could be provided.
Okay, so
they felt they needed more information on that. Like I said, that this response was provided to the applicants, and they were working with Division of Water Resources to get these questions answered. So the applicants may have updated information from what was available at the time of the staff report.
okay, and did I miss that? Was that a condition of approval that we actually get that from the Colorado Division of Water Resources?
That was not included, but we certainly can.
Okay, well, I think we can wait to hear what the applicant says, and then it seems like if we're asking Colorado Division of Water Resources to comment, then we should get their approval, right? So, all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner McMillan, just one question about condition 5, which says the applicant shall be subject to the dedication requirements for schools, parks, and roads. What are those dedication requirements? I think the only thing we'd be dedicating here are roads, but is there anything else that we're missing?
No, I believe it's just the dedication of the roads. And again, per the county engineer, that won't happen until after the CFOs are issued for the rest of the lots in the subdivision.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, hearing no further questions. Thank you, Pete. Move on to an applicant presentation. I think Cameron's here. If there's anything to present.
Yes, Chair Libby, Cameron, you can unmute. I just saw you did. So this is, I'm not sure if you have anyone else with you, but go ahead, Cameron.
Okay, well, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. I am here on behalf of the applicant, Ridgeline Development Corporation, Michael Markel, I believe is joining us as well, or was intended to. I don't have a whole lot more to add to the presentation that Pete provided. I think he did a great job describing the project itself, but a couple items I took note on that you've been discussing here that I can maybe help out with or clarify a little bit. We could start with that. The Colorado Division of Water Resources, there were basically three things that needed to be done there on their letter: completing a water supply information summary sheet. Again, as Pete mentioned, it just kind of summarizes the water use to make sure there's not excessive uses, irrigation, or just kind of the planned use. And then number two, a will serve letter from Left Hand Water District committing to serving the subdivision. That's not an issue, but just underway. Then we just have to get that from them. And the third comment was related to the stormwater detention facilities. Once those facilities are all designed and approved, there's a portal that the state has that you register those detention facilities on. And although this project doesn't have any improvements to the stormwater ponds, there's several stormwater ponds on outlots A and B currently, and those were sized previously with phase 1 to serve the full build out conditions of these subsequent phases. However, back in 2020, I worked on retrofitting those detention pond outlet structures with water quality plates to bring those up to current standards. So there's just a little work involved with providing the documentation to show that as you post it on this the website for the state to have those fully, I guess, registered. So those are the three kind of comments on that water resources division of water resources that we still have yet to take care of, and just some minor things, just cleanup items really. So if that is added to the conditions of approval, we wouldn't have any issues with that. Other than that, I guess I don't have really anything else, but I'm certainly here to answer any other questions or concerns that you might have that I'm able to answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the commissioners for the applicant? All right, hearing none. Thank you again, Cameron. We'll move into public testimony. There were no signups in advance, as staff confirmed. Is there anybody as an attendee who would like to speak? If you would, please put your name, address, and the docket number in the chat of the Zoom meeting. And we'll give a few seconds for that. There's nobody on the phone. So unless I see somebody put something in the chat, we'll move on.
Chair Libby, this is Rick Hackett, staff. I just enabled the chat, so let's just give it another 30 seconds or so just to be sure.
Got it. All right, seeing and hearing none, we can move on. Any clarifying statements from you, Pete, or from staff? required? I assume not.
Nope.
Okay.
We're good.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing now. And move into our own discussion on the docket item. Anything to discuss?
This is Commissioner Bloomfield. I'd just like to add that as condition the approval from the Colorado Division of Water Resources as a condition of approval. If there are no objections.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. It sounded like the applicant was fine with it as well.
Yeah.
Commissioner McMillan, I also thought it was a good recommendation, Mark. I think it was you to add to condition number 4, applied for within 6 weeks after approval by the county commissioners, so that that clock starts at the end of this process. Other than that, I don't have any comments.
Okay,
This
go ahead, Dave.
this is Commissioner Shu. I feel like the applications fits the criteria. I will be voting against because I don't read Article 5, 301C the same way that the attorneys do. So I disagree with that interpretation.
Yeah, maybe a little discussion on that would help. David, I had the same question. And I guess I'm sort of wondering how the other commissioners view that. And I guess my question for staff would be, if these weren't all bundled, what would the process be? Would there be separate applications for preliminary plat, final plat? Like how would that change the review process?
Yes, if they were not bundled into a single, it would have to be one review specifically for the plan, and then a separate review for the final plat. And it would have to be Planning Commission on the plan, BOCC on the plan, and then Planning Commission on the final plat, BOCC on the final plat. So it would be, you'd have to finish the plan piece all the way first, and then go on and do the final plat.
Got it. I agree that the language is confusing at best. So whatever we decide today, I do think that should be something that gets cleaned up to more clearly define the intent. My inclination is to say that I'm comfortable with the director's determination on how that is interpreted today. But I do think it's a very valid question, and it's a little bit gray, and where we have that type of thing, I think we should try and clean it up. So my initial take is to, although it gives me concern, I'm okay with the explanation that came through. But I think we should try to fix that language, make it clearer.
This is Commissioner Bloomfield. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it is a little unclear. But I do, I can definitely see the interpretation that the director has the discretion that kind of, if it's 7 or less, then it's allowed, and then the director has discretion. I do feel, because this seems pretty straightforward, nothing's been changed since the prior approvals. I'm pretty comfortable going forward. But I do agree that that language should be cleaned up.
Right. It seems as though we have enough consensus, unless anybody else has further discussion topics. I'll go ahead and make a motion unless anybody wants to speak. Okay. I move that the Planning Commission, sorry, let me find the right thing. The language is different this month. The Planning Commission recommend to the Board of County Commissioners conditional approval of docket SD-22-0001 Niwot Hills TDR/PUD subdivision filing 3, subject to the 2015 conditions in the staff report, with the addition on condition 4 of a specification that this 6-week timer start after the Board of County Commissioners approval process, and the addition of an additional condition specifying that approval in whatever language is appropriate by the Colorado Division of Water Resources be achieved before this moves forward.
Commissioner Fitch, I second that motion.
Thank you, Sam. Any discussion? I think I got that right, Mark, on the addition? Okay. No discussion. Okay, we'll vote. Sam Fitch,
Aye.
Sam Libby, aye. Dave,
No.
Ann,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Gavin,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. And I think the feedback was clear from Dave, so I'm sure staff took that into account, and that may be a future code update. But that is our only doc item for today. So unless there are any additional comments from staff, I will move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Commissioner Bloomfield, I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. Second. Everyone say aye.
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 All right. Thank you all for your time, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Bye all.
Thank you.